Hello everyone, welcome to Memory Matters for All Ages. I'm Janelle Nichols. I want to welcome back to the program Catherine Kilpatrick. She is a speech-language pathologist with over 40 years experience. She's a national speaker. She is the author of over 30 publications. She also coaches individuals, works with home health. Catherine, welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Good to see you. So often on this program, you've talked about a person with memory loss and the importance of knowing their story so that someone can take care of them in the best way possible because they might be to a point where they cannot share. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is
I know
really
that's
neat.
I know it's neat, and I know it's a big part of your heart.
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, what's important as you kind of wind down in your ability to do things, you know, mobility or finances or cognitive or memory skills, but you might not be able to create them on your own. And I met a woman several years ago by the name of Jill Thomas, and she had a company called Advanced Care Planning. And we understand, you know, we often have all those other documents all lined up, but then she had created, which I thought was a genius idea, Lifestyle Care Plan. And it's about trying to get a way to document that story. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today.
Well, you know, you hear so often about the phrase now person-centered care,
Right.
person-centered focus. And I think that assisted livings and nursing homes are adopting that model, and they're doing a fine job. But sometimes it is hard to get information from the resident or from the kids. And let me give you an example. First of all, my daughter knows me as mom. My husband has known me for the last 37 years. He knows me as a young college student. We met as a new mother. He knows so much. He knows me in a whole different way than my daughter knows. So if my husband is gone and I'm going into an assisted living, my daughter
Right.
doesn't know a lot of the things about, she doesn't know what she doesn't know about me.
Right.
And
And
this
what
is-
might just make your day or make you smile
That's
or bring
exactly
back
right.
some memory
That's
that
right.
you want to have.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, absolutely. So, you know, like I said, we have the durable power of attorney for the healthcare, the living wills, and all of that. And those are very prudent steps. I know you've done work in that area.
Absolutely,
But they're not
sure.
about living in the care of other people. And in a previous show, I talked about in the early stages, getting someone's story. That's one of the great benefits of having an early diagnosis, whether it's early onset dementia or it is someone in the early stages of Alzheimer's disease in their 80s. You know, so that's the time to get their story. I've seen this over and over again. And again, we've talked about every person is unique. And so how my son sees me, how my siblings see me. My sister-in-law and I are extremely close, and she knows my heart, she knows my soul, and even though she only came into my life, you know, 30 years ago, I mean, she probably knows more about me to kind of put all those puzzle pieces together. And so if someone knows those things, it can really make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Because what we're talking about is your history, your values, okay, but then your preferences and your habits. You know, do you want 2 cream in your sugar? Do you want vanilla? I don't want hazelnut cream. You know, I mean, all those putsy little things. Now,
But those are life's little pleasures.
Absolutely.
Like you talk about making your day, that makes your day.
Absolutely. I don't like hazelnut creamer. You remember that, okay? The routine that you like and your lifestyle choices. And then we've heard the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, this colleague that I heard talked about taking it to a whole other level. And I want you to think about this as I read it to you because it really makes sense. He created, and his name is Dr. Tony Alessandra, do unto others as they would do unto themselves. Do unto others as they would do unto themselves. In other words, what would I want for me? Because you might like Pepsi, but I like Coke. And so you may not think, you know, to do that, or
Sure.
whatever product it is, kind of thing. I'm going to share with you some things. I will put a link with the blog to these actual in-depth stories, because what the lifestyle care plan that Jill developed has is it takes a person's care as it was in a nursing home without the lifestyle care plan, and then with a lifestyle care plan. And they did the same thing for home care. Excuse me. So this is a person in a nursing home. She was taken to the dining room for breakfast, and she had a cup of coffee and her bacon and eggs. And after lunch, she came back to her room and watched TV and fell asleep. Okay, so now they're looking at her lifestyle care plan of preferences. Excuse me, my throat is getting to me today. She was served breakfast in her room because she wanted to watch the TV. That's what she had always done. She always watched her morning news program. She had oatmeal with a banana, and she saved the banana for later on, and she had a second cup of coffee. Look at the difference, okay? And then after lunch, and I just love this, she was taken to the activity department instead of watching TV in her room, and she read a paper to a small group of residents who were vision impaired, and they worked a crossword puzzle together as a group.
Excellent. Well, even something as simple as how you like your eggs.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
It's going to depend whether you're going to eat your breakfast
Yeah,
or not.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a wonderful
And,
story.
you know,
common sense, little things.
Right. And it's understandable when you are in that kind of setting, you know, they can't cater as much as they would like to do person-centered or person-directed care to every single person's minuscule wish. But
Right,
that doesn't
right.
mean that families can't, I mean, there's so many ways to weave that in. And this is where we're going. I mean, when you think about it now, and all the vegans and vegetarians, and when the baby boomers come down the pike, not that there aren't some people, and you've probably seen that in some of your residents,
very few
but
at this
minuscule.
point. Right, very
Absolutely.
few
But
at
I got to
this
tell you
point.
what, I mean,
That's
I
right.
have half a dozen friends that are vegetarians or vegans, and sometimes they'll cheat, you know, when they're, you know, it's not available to them. But that is their preference. So, wow, there's going to be a lot of scrambling
It
going
is.
on.
It's going to
with
be
that.
completely different. Yes.
Okay, so here's some things to think about. Create an overview. And again, looking at this lifestyle care plan, it may be something that you want to create, or you may want to use it just for some ideas. But you want, sorry about that, parts of your history that matter, and you've heard about ethical wills, and so it's some of your values and the things you'd like to pass on. But then look at location. You know, where would you like to be? Would you like to have a window looking outside that you want to be close to? Would you like to, you know, be in a room that has a certain temperature? There's all different kinds of things.
Well, how do you like the temperature when you sleep? Do you like it toasty, or do you like it very, very cool?
Right,
Yes.
absolutely. And then it's the little things, what you might like to eat. Do you want 3 pillows? Do you want, you're allergic to feathers? I mean, all of those things, like you said, your daughter or your husband may have no clue on certain things. The more feminine things, your daughter may have a better idea on. So if we just put that down, and it's a great way for people that don't want to talk about living wills and that type of thing yet, to have a conversation just about these things, which can help people then maybe start to have the more in-depth conversations that sometimes tend to be avoided. And then the triggers. And we all have little things that it's like, okay, absolutely not. I do not want this. So I don't want somebody as cleanly as they may think it. Don't spray Lysol and other products like that with chemicals in my room every day in front of me. I just cannot be in the room. I can't be in a room with, you know, toxic
That's
kinds of
because
things.
of your
Chemical
allergies.
allergies,
Yes,
right.
yes.
So, but there are other things. There may be certain people that would come and visit that just, you know, I really would rather have somebody else there with me if I can't speak, you know, I mean, there's just, so we need to kind of
There's
take
so
a look
much,
at that.
sure.
So let me just give you a quick overview, because I want to give you the home care one. This is a woman who was able, she'd had a stroke and had someone that was with her. Lynn went to the kitchen for lunch. She ate in the little table there. And then she was put in front of the TV so she could watch the soap opera, and she fell asleep, a pretty typical thing, okay? And with the lifestyle care plan, Lynn and the caregiver went out to lunch. Then they stopped by the United Way office. She could get to see her friends. She had volunteered there for over 30 years, and everybody missed her. And so she would do some simpler activities with the assistance of her aide.
Sure. That makes me think, remember something at Kent Ridge, which is our assisted living in Kent. Years ago, there was a gal that lived there that had been very, very active in the community, and especially in a certain chamber. And when I realized that, I took her to the chamber luncheon. Now, I went to the chamber luncheon every month as far as marketing, marketing purposes. And she went, and just what the example you gave, everybody came up to her, and she just was flying high the rest of the week. She got to see everyone. And she went a number of times with me until, there was a decline, and she no longer felt well enough to go. But she loved it.
Yeah,
Loved it.
there's so many little things. I do this program often in training for activity professionals at some of the state conferences, and we will spend like an hour going around and people sharing the little things that would matter to them. And it's so interesting. It's like, oh, I need to make sure I write these things down. And I remember doing a talk many, many years ago, and this one woman said, and she was in her 50s, she said, oh my gosh, she says, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. She said, I hate the TV programs and the music that my family listens to, so I'm going to go down and write all my preferences. And this was obviously the day before iPods,
Yes,
so
yes.
she, but she says, I
handwrote
need for them to know what it is I'd like to be surrounded by. So sometimes caregivers will play their music
Right.
instead of surrounding the person with some of the music that they would like to have.
Well, and it could be a music choice that just grates on you.
Oh yeah, I got a few of those. How about you?
Oh, yeah, I do. And it just makes you crazy, and you can't stand it. So this is all practical stuff. Before you give us our assignment this week, I do want to remind our audience to watch at the end of the program. You'll see information on Kathy's website and her blog, and I would urge you to get on her website. There is so much wonderful information there. Also, she writes the blog in conjunction with what we talk about in this 15-minute program each week, so there's more details there. Also, Kathy recently held a program at the Gables of Hudson Assisted Living, and out of that is growing a memory fitness group, and it is limited to a certain number,
Right,
number of people.
because I want to give the individualized expertise as the speech-language
right.
pathologist. It's not just oh, come and let's do something.
Exactly.
They're going to kind of get some little professional insight into things they might be able to do.
Now, number of spaces are limited, so I would encourage you to either get on the website and send Kathy an email and see if there's still a space if you want to reserve a spot, or call the Gables of Hudson and they'll be able to help you.
Right.
But another wonderful, I know you've had this vision for some time, and I think I would encourage all of you to think about that. Kathy, what do we do this week?
Think about 5 preferences.
5 preferences.
What are some things that would be really important to you? And you talked about the temperature of the room. I need it cold at night when I'm sleeping.
Right.
Otherwise, I wake up a
Or
lot.
we
I mean,
can't
that
sleep.
would be
That's
that
right.
just is
That's
on the
right.
top. But the other thing is, if my arms don't work and I'm cold, put a scarf around my neck. A nice, not itchy, scratchy one. I mean, simple things like that. Because if you don't have the irritation and you smile because somebody remembered, or in your soul, if you can't articulate it, you just know there's something familiar about that. Can you think of
5 preferences.
Well, give me one or two.
I have to have it cold or I can't sleep, and then I'm grouchy all day and groggy, and I don't want coffee. Don't give me hot coffee.
Okay.
I'll take hot tea or hot chocolate.
There you go.
But
Okay.
sure.
And I've
All
got
right.
a quote.
Give us our quote.
Okay, sometimes when we are generous in small, barely detectable ways, it can change someone's life forever. And Margaret Cho.
I love that. The little things. Kathy, thank you so much, and thank all of you for joining us. Join us next week. Now go and make it a great day.